No one remembered the boy's name. In the narrow streets of the city where people hurried past each other with tired eyes and heavy hearts, he was just another face, quiet, unnoticed, replaceable. Every morning before sunrise, while most people were still asleep, he stepped out of a small, broken house with worn shoes and hope stitched together by patience. His father had passed away when he was young. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just slowly, painfully, as illness ate away the strength of the only man the boy admired. After that, life didn't fall apart in one day. It cracked silently, piece by piece. Responsibilities replaced childhood. Silence replaced laughter. People said, "Zindagi us par bahut sakht ho gayi hai," but no one stopped to ask how he carried it. The boy worked wherever he could. Some days he cleaned shops. Some days he carried boxes. Other days there was no work at all, only waiting and dua. When people saw him resting for a moment, they assumed laziness. They never saw the nights he stayed awake calculating how to stretch little money into another day of survival. School had once been his escape. He loved learning. Books made him forget hunger. Knowledge gave him dignity when the world gave him nothing. But after his father's death, education became a luxury. Fees, transport, uniforms, everything cost money, and money was something his house no longer understood. One evening, his teacher called him aside. "You're talented," the teacher said gently, "but talent alone won't feed your family." Those words stayed with him, not as advice, but as a wound. Soon after, the boy dropped out. People talked. "He had potential," they said. "Potential doesn't pay bills," others replied. With time, even the whispers stopped. Failure became his identity. When someone mentioned his name, it was followed by silence, then a shrug. But inside him, something refused to die. Every night, after finishing his work and helping his mother, he sat alone, not with entertainment, not with complaints, but with thought. He asked himself questions most people avoid. Who am I becoming? What does Allah want from me? Is this the end or only the beginning disguised as loss? He remembered a verse he had once memorized in school. "Aur insan ke liye wahi hai, jiski usne koshish ki hai." Surah An-Najm 53:39. It echoed in his heart. Effort. Not results, not applause, just effort. So he made a decision, quietly. No announcements, no motivation speeches, no social media promises. Just a decision between him and Allah. Every day, no matter how tired he was, he would improve himself by one small step. Some days that meant reading borrowed books. Some days it meant learning a skill from free resources. Some days it meant failing again and trying again without telling anyone. People noticed his silence. "You're too quiet," someone mocked. "Dreaming won't change your situation," another laughed. He didn't argue. He learned something important early. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Months passed, then years. Life didn't suddenly improve. In fact, it tested him harder. His mother fell ill. Expenses increased. Work became unstable. Some nights, the weight of responsibility pressed so heavily on his chest that breathing felt like effort. Once, sitting alone after a long day, he whispered, "Ya Allah, I am trying. Please don't let my effort be meaningless." There were no miracles, no instant answers, only a strange calm that entered his heart. And he continued. While others rested after work, he studied. While others complained about their fate, he focused on discipline. While others waited for opportunities, he prepared himself to deserve one. Slowly, without anyone realizing, he changed. His confidence wasn't loud, his knowledge wasn't flashy, his growth wasn't visible, but it was real. One day, a small opportunity came. Nothing extraordinary, a short-term project, low pay, high responsibility. Most people rejected it. He accepted, not because it paid well, but because it demanded excellence. He worked honestly. He arrived early. He stayed late. He treated the task like it was a trust, an amana. When mistakes happened, he owned them. When praise came, he stayed silent. Someone noticed, then someone else. Soon, small opportunities followed bigger ones. Not luck, but recognition of character. People began to see something they hadn't seen before: reliability. Yet even then, success didn't rush in. There were setbacks, promises broken, moments when progress seemed to reverse, nights when he questioned everything again. But this time, something was different. He no longer doubted himself, because deep inside, he knew he was no longer the same person who had been ignored. He had risen within.
Success never arrived with noise. It came quietly, like dawn, unnoticed by those who were asleep. The boy, now a man, continued his life with the same discipline that had shaped him in silence. People around him still underestimated him. Some remembered his failures more clearly than his growth. Others assumed he was simply lucky to get small opportunities. They never saw the years behind them. They never saw the nights when he chose effort over rest, the mornings when he chose responsibility over comfort, the moments when he trusted Allah while the outcome remained unclear. One evening, he was offered a role no one expected him to receive. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't safe, and it came with risk. A position that required leadership, integrity, and pressure handling. Things people never associated with him. When his name was mentioned, there was hesitation. "Are you sure?" someone asked. "He's quiet, not very confident," another said. But one man spoke differently. "He doesn't talk much," the man said, "but when he works, things get done." That sentence changed everything. For the first time in his life, he wasn't chosen for potential, he was chosen for character. The responsibility was heavy. Decisions mattered now. Mistakes would affect others. Expectations were high, and failure would no longer be private, it would be public. That night, he couldn't sleep. Not because of fear, but because of awareness. He made wudu, prayed 2 rak'ah, and sat quietly. "Ya Allah," he whispered, "you gave me this not because I am perfect, but because you are merciful. If this is a test, help me pass it with honesty." He remembered something his father once said. "Beta izzet mile yana mile, kirdar kabi mat chorna." And so he worked. Not to impress, not to dominate, but to serve. When problems arose, he listened. When conflicts appeared, he stayed fair. When praise came, he redirected it. When mistakes happened, he took responsibility. Some people tried to test him, others tried to provoke him. But patience had become his strength. Slowly, the environment changed. People felt safe working with him. They trusted his word. They respected his consistency. Months passed. Results followed. Not overnight success, but steady progress. And something strange happened. The same people who once ignored him began asking for advice. The same voices that doubted him began defending him. The same world that once passed him by began stopping to notice. One day, he stood in a place he never imagined he would reach. Not rich, not famous, but respected. Stable, content. He could provide for his family now. His mother no longer worried about basic needs. His home felt lighter, not because of wealth, but because of peace. But the biggest change wasn't around him. It was inside him. He no longer needed validation, because he had learned something most people never do. True success is not being seen. It is being steadfast when no one is watching. One afternoon, a young boy approached him,
The same look of exhaustion, the same silence, the same invisible pain he once carried. The boy hesitated before speaking. "Sir, people say I should stop trying. They say it's too late for me." The man smiled gently. "How old are you?" he asked. 17. He almost laughed, but stopped himself. Instead, he said something he wished someone had told him years ago. People speak from their limits, not yours. The boy looked confused. The man continued. If Allah has given you the ability to try, then it's never too late. Effort itself is a form of success. That night, as he walked home, he reflected on his journey. The pain, the silence, the rejection. It all made sense now. Had life been easy, he might have become careless. Had people supported him early, he might have depended on them instead of Allah. The delays weren't punishment, they were preparation. He remembered another verse that once comforted him in his hardest days. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. Not after hardship, with hardship. Ease had always been there, hidden in discipline, patience, and faith. Years later, when people asked him about his secret, he never mentioned strategy or intelligence. He said only this: "I trusted Allah and I didn't quit." Some understood, most didn't. But that was okay, because he had learned the final lesson. You don't rise by proving people wrong. You rise by proving yourself sincere. The world notices success, but Allah notices effort. And in the end, that is enough.